She announced on Instagram Live, "Breaking up with him right now. Watch me kick him out of his own apartment." Then tried to change my locks while streaming. I calmly called, "Entertainment for your followers." Then I had building security escort her out while still live streaming. When her 12,000 followers watched security explain she was on the lease, honestly, that was just the beginning of the nightmare, not the end. Because when you involve 15,000 strangers in a breakup, you drag in every single person you know, especially your family. And the fallout was immediate and absolutely brutal on everyone. I'm Liam, 29, and for 8 months I thought Skylar, with her bouncy blonde hair and her ridiculous number of followers, was the one, or at least the one for season, but man, was I wrong. And my world basically imploded during a Q3 budget meeting when my phone started vibrating so aggressively I thought it might shatter the table, and I just kept ignoring it, staring dead ahead at spreadsheets because I thought it was just the usual drama. Maybe Skylar was mad I didn't text back. Immediately. The usual influencer angst. But when the meeting ended and I finally checked my phone, it wasn't drama. It was an avalanche. 15 different texts, Slack DMs. Even a Facebook message from my cousin who I hadn't spoken to since Thanksgiving. All saying the same thing, some version of dude. Skylar is losing on Instagram. Check the live stream now. I opened Instagram, and there she was, my ex-girlfriend Skylar, sitting on my sectional couch in my apartment, holding up a cheap deadbolt kit from the hardware store, beaming at her phone like she was announcing an engagement, except she was announcing a felony, telling over 12,000 people that since I was ignoring her texts, she was changing the locks and kicking me out of my own home, and that this was her apartment now, and she was going to pile all my crap in the hallway for me to deal with when I got home from work. And I just sat there, frozen, thinking. She is announcing an illegal eviction to a stadium full of strangers, while simultaneously realizing I owned the place, had the lease solo for 3 years, and she was just a guest who'd moved in 4 months earlier because, and this is the irony that hits me now, she had been kicked out of her own previous living situation for not paying rent. So I called my building security, trying to sound calm even though my voice was shaking, and I explained the situation to the very tired-sounding security manager, confirming 3 times that I was the sole leaseholder, and yes, she was streaming this attempted crime. And within seconds, they promised to send someone up, which gave me the exact composure I needed to call my boss, tell him I had a massive, unexpected legal emergency, and walk out of the office, driving home, doing exactly the speed limit, because I thought getting pulled over while my home was being stolen would be the ultimate metaphor for my terrible day. And when I arrived, I heard her still raging through the door, fumbling with a lock, ranting about common law marriage or whatever. And her viewer count was still climbing. Nearly 15,000 people watching her fail to install a deadbolt. And when I opened the door with my own key, her face when she saw me, that perfect shift from theatrical rage to camera to pure white panic, was something I'll never forget. But she snapped back, grabbing her phone and turning the camera on me, yelling about how I didn't respect her, calling it my apartment, my lease, like I don't even exist. And I just stepped back and said calmly, "You exist, Skylar. You're just not on my lease. You've lived here for 4 months as my guest." And that's when the knock came. 2 security officers, one older and exhausted, the other younger and trying desperately not to laugh at the spectacle of the viral breakdown, and they explained the law to her, right there on camera for 15,000 people, explaining that since she didn't pay rent to the building, she was a guest, and the leaseholder could ask her to leave at any time. And when I pointed to the gouged door frame and the mangled lock pieces, confirming she had damaged my property, the older officer's look of resignation sealed it, telling her, "Ma'am, if you damage any more property, we will call the police. You have 30 minutes to pack." The live stream cut off at 14,962 viewers, and the silence in my apartment after her hysterical crying and desperate packing finally stopped was deafening, the kind of silence that doesn't feel peaceful, but like the eye of a hurricane. And my brother Ryan was the first family member to call, his voice tight with shock. "Liam, dude, what the actual hell? Did she seriously try to steal your place on camera to 15,000 people? Is she stupid or just entitled?" And I just sighed, leaning my head back against the wall. Both, Ryan, definitely both, and now I have to deal with the fallout, which started with my phone exploding, not just friends, but my HR director calling me the next day, asking about the harassment calls they were receiving because Skylar naturally had pivoted her narrative online, posting dozens of stories about being illegally evicted homeless, and the always popular baseless claim of domestic violence. And I showed my HR director the full video, the unedited proof of her attempted felony. And the look on her face as she watched the lock attempt was pure, priceless disbelief. She really announced she was stealing your apartment while 15,000 people watched, she muttered, thankfully promising to flag all future calls as harassment, but advising me to hire a lawyer immediately, which I did that afternoon, finding a phenomenal corporate lawyer named David who actually cracked a rare smile as he watched the footage. This is the easiest case I've ever had, Liam, he told me. She recorded herself committing attempted illegal eviction, harassment, and property damage. Don't delete anything. And that advice became my mantra, meticulously documenting every single post, every lie, every hashtag, every dox attempt where her followers posted my work address, my parking spot number, and worst of all, my mother's maiden name. And that was when the family drama hit. Full force because my mom, Eleanor, called me hysterical. Liam, I just had Skylar's mother, Brenda, on the phone. She called me a bad mother for raising such a heartless son who throws a woman out on the street. And I had to work hard to keep my own temper, assuring Mom that I was fine, that her daughter tried to steal my house, and that she should have hung up the moment Brenda started yelling, which, of course, Mom confessed she eventually did. But the damage was done. The mothers were officially at war, and the tension only ratcheted up when Skylar and her mother, Brenda, showed up at my building too, days later, demanding to talk, acting like Brenda was her stand-in lawyer, and I refused to open the door, refusing to engage with two people who were now technically trespassing. And then came the moment that made me question everything, the ultimate, desperate, nuclear lie. Skylar stood up, looking dramatically at the door, and yelled, loud enough for me and the security camera to hear, I'm pregnant, Liam, with your baby. You're throwing out the mother of your child. And my heart actually stopped, a cold, hard knot of fear and confusion tightening in my chest. But David's voice echoed in my head, document everything, and I forced myself to respond to the door. You're lying, Skylar. Show me the test. Show me a doctor's note. And the flimsy response came back, I don't have it. I haven't been to the doctor yet. The most predictable, desperate excuse. And I called security immediately, watching the younger. Officers struggled to suppress a smile as they escorted the two women out, explaining again that pregnancy doesn't confer tenancy rights, which, I mean, is completely logical, but the emotional manipulation was sickening, and I later posted the only response the situation needed. A screenshot of Skylar's I'm pregnant text, followed by a simple, waiting for proof, will update when provided. And the proof naturally never came, but the legal battle did weeks later, when I was served with small claims papers. Skylar suing me for $12,000, claiming unpaid rent contributions, emotional distress, moving expenses, and damaged belongings, and David was ecstatic. This is going to be fun, Liam, he said, as we compiled a 47-page dossier of screenshots, timelines, and our own self-incriminating videos. And the court day arrived, a total circus with Skylar, and Brenda showing up with a massive, tabbed 3-ring binder full of God knows what, while Dave and I had a tiny USB drive. And when David's opening statement simply involved plugging the drive into court's monitor and playing the unedited live stream video, showing Skylar gleefully announcing her crime to 15,000 people. The air went totally out of the room, and the judge, a tired, stern woman, watched the whole thing, her face getting tighter and tighter until she turned to Skylar, completely incredulous. You recorded yourself doing this? And Skylar's mumbled excuse about being emotional was destroyed by the evidence of the $44 deadbolt kit, the property damage, and the simple, undeniable fact that she had zero legal right to the apartment. And the judge systematically demolished every single item on her $12,000 claim. $4,000 for rent contributions became cost sharing, not rent. The emotional distress claim was dismissed because she caused her own distress by attempting a crime. And the entire case was thrown out, dismissed, with the judge ordering Skylar to pay $350 in court costs for filing a frivolous lawsuit. And then outside the courthouse, Brenda, Skylar's mother, absolutely lost it, screaming at me in the street, "You've destroyed her life. She has nothing." And I looked her dead in the eye, my voice perfectly level. Brenda, Skylar destroyed her own life on Instagram, lived to 15,000 people. She made about 50 mistakes, all recorded, all public, all her fault. And I walked away, feeling a weight I didn't know I was carrying finally lift. But the family drama wasn't quite finished, because 2 months after the disaster, with the video sitting at 3.2 million views and Skylar's online reputation in tatters, she moved back in with her parents 2 hours away. And my mom called me again, sounding conflicted. Liam, I talked to Aunt Patty today, Skylar's aunt, and she said Brenda is just beside herself, claiming you blacklisted Skylar everywhere, that she can't get a job or an apartment because of the video. And I knew that wasn't true. I hadn't done anything but defend myself. But the emotional cost of this whole spectacle was clearly reaching its tendrils into the extended family, causing fractures on both sides. And my own brother, Ryan, while supportive, actually told me, man, you should just let her win on the court costs, the $350, just for peace. Let her have one little victory. But I disagreed firmly, telling him that this wasn't about the money. It was about establishing an absolute legal boundary, showing her that every single action had a consequence, and that she couldn't just weaponize her instability and her social media, following without facing reality. And honestly, the peace I have now is worth more than any $350. It's the peace of knowing my home is finally safe, that my expensive new smart locks and Ring doorbell, yes, I became paranoid, but can you blame me? Are keeping the drama out and that Skylar self-created viral legacy of attempted theft and blatant dishonesty will follow her everywhere. A digital scarlet letter that she chose to stitch onto her own chest when she hit go live that day. The internet truly doesn't forget, and while she's still posting story time, how my ex stole my home videos, completely rewriting history for her dwindling audience, the comment section is always the same. Girl, we all saw the video. You can't gaslight the internet. Just take the L and move on. And that, more than any court order, is the true justice served.